Hi guys, here are my final thoughts after gaming and testing both the Asus PG279Q and the Acer XB270HU. Both were tested at the native resolution 2560 by 1440. G-Sync was enabled on both of them. I used all the features. Both are good gaming monitors. I adjusted the contrast, the brightness, and the colors of both the monitors to give me a good comparison between them. I didn't just want to test them how they were out of the box, because they're like you see in the store. They're very bright, a little heavy on the blues. So I tried to match them up as best I could in a short amount of time. I didn't have a lot of time with either of the panels. And all things, I'll just cut to the chase, all things being equal, this had a little bit worse backlight bleed. The bottom right and the top right were the worst parts. This also had backlight bleed, but it was nowhere near as bad as the Asus. The Acer, on the other hand, no matter what I did with the color, it had a yellowish tint to the backlight. The Asus was very bright white, or pure white, I guess. Had a whole spectrum of colors. That's how you get white, is having an equal spectrum. But this one was heavy on the yellow. I tried to correct it. You can't really notice it. Just like the backlight bleed, when you're gaming and doing normal things, you really don't notice it. Online, there's been many people who've received both panels with dead pixels and other issues. It's hard to compare with just a quantity of one, because statistically speaking, a quantity of one isn't enough to mean anything. I would have to have a dozen of each, randomly sampled from the line of different build dates, a couple from October, a couple from September, and further back. But I would have to have many panels and go through each of them to really get a good idea. But thankfully, websites like overclock.net have kind of crowdsourced, and you can go there if you want to read up more on the PG279Q from Asus or the XB270HU. I would be happy, honestly, with either panel. At the time of this review, this one was $699 on sale. Normally $799. This one was $799, normally like $850-ish, which is a lot of money for any panel. But considering they're both IPS screens, they do cost more. They are a nicer screen. The colors are much better than TN. Obviously, they're gaming oriented, so that's going to jack up the price a little bit. The on-screen displays, I really didn't like the Asus as much as the traditional Acer, in my opinion. It's pretty simple, just buttons for left and right, buttons for up and down. This one has a nice little toggle, I guess. You can kind of toggle left, right. It's like a hat switch. And then it has 4 buttons. So it's not hard, it's not bad in any way, but it's non-traditional. So if you like something a little out of the box, that's a plus. As far as the looks, they're very similar. I really like both the panels. The only thing I really didn't like about the Acer was it's the original G-Sync module, so it only has the DisplayPort as an input. The new XB271HU has the same newer module that the Asus has, and it includes an HDMI, which is kind of a necessity. The panels themselves, it's a lottery. Sometimes, most of the time, you get a good one. Occasionally, you get a bad one, so don't hesitate to send back if you do purchase a new monitor. If you're not 100% satisfied, don't wait. Send it back, see what they'll do for you. I believe, push comes to shove, the Acer is going back, mostly because of the yellow, and this has HDMI. My laptop has an HDMI port, so if I ever needed another monitor, a larger monitor for my laptop, this one's not going to cut it. It's just not going to work. Boom. It's an option. The backlight bleed is worse, but like I say, it's a lottery. I could probably send it back and get one with no backlight bleed at all, but I might have a dead pixel or two. You really don't know. It's kind of a crapshoot. I just like looking at them, to be honest with you. They're so much nicer than my old monitor. So if you really want to spoil yourself, Christmas, something, birthday, whatever, if you game at all, get a gaming monitor. It really doesn't hurt you at all. If anything, it'll help you out. The plus side to getting a gaming monitor that has something like FreeSync or G-Sync is if your system is not the best of the best of the best, sir, you know, with honors, you're going to struggle. You're really going to notice. Your system's going to go below 60 hertz, and your monitor's going to struggle, and you're going to see it. It's going to tear. It's just going to look terrible, and you're going to not enjoy the experience as much as you could. With something like FreeSync or G-Sync, if you don't have the best computer out there and you're dipping below 60 hertz, which is what a normal monitor wants to run at, or obviously more is ideal, but it'll look better on a G-Sync. It really will. A lot of people get caught up with the refresh rate hertz like they used to get caught up with the megapixel for cameras. Just because a camera has 20 megapixel or 12 megapixel or whatever, it doesn't mean it takes a better picture. So just because this one says, oh, you can overclock to 165 hertz, it doesn't mean it's going to be a better gaming experience. It all comes down to pixels. The back end, you need to have the back end to support what the pixel can do, but ultimately you can have the best computer, the best back end, the best software, but if the pixel cannot handle what you're wanting it to do, it's not going to be a good gaming experience. And because these are IPS, they do not switch, the in-plane switching, it just doesn't switch as much or as quick as like a TN. It just doesn't. That's the way it is. I have gamed on TN panels, and depending on the game, my game was Battlefield 4. When I played on the TN, it was almost fluid. It looked pretty horrible. The colors were all washed out and viewing angles were terrible because it's a TN, but it was like fluid as far as movement. It was really great for getting the edge on the other guy. So if I was a competitive gamer, I would probably be still using a TN, but because I'm not, I enjoy using Premiere and Photoshop more than I like gaming, really. I want an IPS. So I think I'll go with the Asus just because subjectively I did enjoy the experience. It has crosshairs that I like, and its frame counter was a little better than the frame bar that was on the Acer. Not that it's bad in any way. This one has a glossy bezel. This one has a flat. Again, another plus to the Asus. And one thing that really did bug me was the length of the Displayport cord that came with the Acer. It was like 3 feet, maybe a little over 3 feet long. You know, it's like a little over the length of an arm. I don't know many people who would have their computer close enough that would reach. It just, unless you have a tower that's right next to your monitor on your desk, or you have a short desk, or your tower's on a stand or something, you're probably going to have issues with it reaching. That was a little unacceptable. So that was a ding to Acer. But the cords with the Asus were decent, standard, nothing fancy, but they work well. Let me know what you think. Feel free to comment Do you have one or the other? Do you prefer one or the other? Am I crazy for throwing away the Acer? Honestly, I've been using 1080p for so many years, and my screen is yellowed, and the backlight is just yellowing like crazy and looking terrible. Either of these monitors were just a dream come true. Don't fall for the hype. Don't listen to the marketing. If you're a hardcore 100% gamer and you don't care about Photoshop and you just browse and watch YouTube videos, get a cheaper TN. You're going to destroy people on the battlefield. If you like RPG, you know, really pretty games, World of Warcraft, whatever, and you enjoy making videos or doing Photoshop or something like that, go for an IPS. They really do look beautiful, and now that they're focusing on games, they're decent at gaming. The newer IPS, thumbs up, awesome. I love them. They're really great. The next ones to watch out for are the ultra wide. Those I think will take a while to get used to. There's a lot of pixels. Eventually 4K gaming will be the mainstream, but we're just not there yet. It's, you know, barriers to entry is cost, and then just the technology. But we'll get there. Thanks, guys.